what actually holds our society together. It's not just the roads and buildings, right? For thousands of years, humanity has been wrestling with this one massive fundamental question, one that really defines our entire existence as a species.
And this is it. This is the big one. How do we live together well? It's the question at the heart of every law, every government, and every single community we've ever built. And it's not just some political science problem, it's deeply human. Get this wrong and, well, societies can crumble. But get it right, we can all thrive together.
So to tackle this huge question, we've developed a pretty powerful toolkit over time. It really boils down to two core ideas that have shaped civilizations for thousands of years: civics and ethics. These are basically our instruments for trying to build a functional world.
To really get a grip on these tools, we've got to go back to where they were first kind of mastered, ancient Greece. Not for the Greeks, this wasn't just theory. This was about the practical survival and flourishing of their city-states. It was life or death.
Okay, first up, civics. The word itself comes from the Latin for citizen, and that's a huge clue. It's all about the structure of our society. So if living together is a kind of game, civics is the rulebook. It tells you your rights and it tells you your duties. And the second tool is ethics. This comes from the Greek ethos, which means character. So if civics is the rulebook, ethics is the spirit in which you play the game. It's the moral code that guides how we act, both as individuals and as citizens. You need both. And listen, this is not some modern idea we just came up with. The ancient Athenians got this connection on a deep level. I mean, their entire education system was basically built around one single goal: creating responsible citizens who knew both the rules and the spirit of the game. For centuries, the source of those rules was pretty clear. It was seen as divine, coming from God. But then, a totally revolutionary idea took hold, and it completely flipped our understanding of who has the right to rule. Now, this shift didn't happen overnight. Way back in ancient Greece and Rome, the citizens themselves helped make the rules. But fast forward to the medieval period, and power moved upwards. Authority was seen as coming from God, with the church right at the center of everything. And then, bang! The age of revolutions in places like Britain, America, and France turned it all on its head, arguing that ultimate power belongs not to kings or gods, but to the people. This set up this just monumental clash of ideas. On one side, you had the divine right of kings, the idea that rulers answer only to God. But on the other, you had the social contract, the idea that the state is a human invention and rulers have to answer to the people. Honestly, that single shift is the foundation of pretty much every modern democracy today. Okay, so if power comes from the people, how do we organize it? Well, a really great way to think about it is like a computer. It's got its own hardware and its own software. The state, that's the hardware. It's the permanent framework of the nation, and it includes all of its citizens. It's this enduring kind of abstract idea. But the government, that's the software. It's the specific group running the machine at any given time. Governments are concrete, they're changeable, they come and go with elections, and they get their power from the state. So, what makes up this hardware, the state? Well, there are four essential elements. First, you need a population. The people themselves, of course. They need a defined territory to live in. You need a government to act as the operating system. And most importantly, you need sovereignty. That's the ultimate authority to make your own rules without anyone from the outside telling you what to do. And that software, the government, it generally comes in two main flavors. In a parliamentary system, like in the UK or Canada, power is fused. The executive and legislative branches are all mixed together. But in a presidential system, like in the US, power is separated. The president is independent of the legislature. They're just two different ways of running the same basic hardware. So, what does all this abstract theory have to do with you? Everything. That social contract we talked about, it isn't just some old idea. It's a real, living relationship you have with the state. And it has a name: citizenship. Yeah, think of citizenship as your legal membership card for a country. It's the formal contract that lays out the deal. On one side, here are your rights and protections. And on the other, here are your duties in return, like, paying taxes and obeying the laws. It's a two-way street. So how do you get this membership card? Usually, it happens at birth, in one of two ways. There's jus soli, which is Latin for right of the soil. It just means you're a citizen if you're born in that country. And then there's jus sanguinis, or right of blood. That means your citizenship comes from your parents.
This simple difference fundamentally shapes who belongs to a nation.
We've just traveled all the way from ancient Greece to the modern state. But that brings us right back to today, because this whole quest, figuring out how to live together well, is anything but finished.
So why does any of this matter now? Because the goals of civics are more critical than ever. We need to be competent citizens who know how to participate effectively. We need to find ways to foster tolerance and find harmony in a super diverse world. And we absolutely must create a culture where we hold our leaders accountable and we actively shape our own future. At the end of the day, civics and ethics aren't just subjects you study in school. They are a live, ongoing project that every single one of us is a part of, every single day. The work of building a better society, it never, ever ends.
And that leaves us with one final question, one that brings us right back to the very beginning. In our complex, interconnected, and, let's be honest, often divided world, what does being a good citizen, playing the game with the right spirit, truly require from you?